This isn't your regular home tour. In this video, I'm gonna visit every house that I've ever lived in. Starting with Belleville, a small town roughly 2 hours from here where we are in Toronto, Ontario. Okay, so we're here outside the first house I've ever lived in. This place I was at from 1996 to 1998. I don't remember a whole lot, but this is it here. In this video, we're gonna be visiting every single house I've ever lived in, and that's a total of 15 places. Head up, knock on the door, see if they're home, and see if they'll let me inside for just a brief tour. Anybody home? I was pretty bummed that no one was home, but honestly, I don't really have much of a recollection of even living there. But I do know that we were very religious, fundamental Christian Baptist to be exact. And the next place, my dad even tried running a church out of the basement. Come on, seriously? Well, it seems like we're kind of having shitty luck here. Nobody's home here. The neighbor just told me that it's a little old lady, so I kind of understand. It is what it is. There's a lot more places to see, so let's hit the road and hopefully we get inside somewhere. All right, Belleville's boring anyways. Let's go to Toronto. Things were not looking up at this point. We have drove like 2 hours and neither of the places had anybody home to answer the door. I thought I would make it up with cinematic drone shots, and then this happened. So the drone broke and we've only visited 2 places at this point. This thing was like $3 grand, so I'm pretty bummed out. I really hope people will let us in because there's not gonna be any more fancy drone shots in this video. RIP drone. All right, drone number 2, let's go. Anyways, we made it back to Toronto with our new drone. Extra precaution with this one. I don't have budget for another one of these drones today. As you may be able to tell at this point, we were pretty poor. My dad had like random side hustle jobs and my mom was a stay-at-home mother for me and my 3 siblings. Totally strange request. However, I would love to potentially come inside and check out my old bedroom. No, that's not gonna happen, man. No. Where the hell is everybody? I want to see the inside of some of these houses. Although honestly, I barely remember this place. So end of the day, whatever. I felt really bummed out at this point, but I still had high hopes because the houses to come, I knew I would recognize and start to remember small details. I understand you don't have to let me in, but it would be incredible if... Okay. I was like this close. I swear she was potentially gonna let me in. This was actually my grandparents' house. They let us stay there because at that point we really didn't have a whole lot of other options. It is what it is. I can't like force anybody in, but you'd think someone with my level of experience? I lived here with my mom and my siblings, and even though I was 7, I still remember it just being a more peaceful environment with my dad kind of out of the picture. My name's Aaron. And it's been a really long time since I've been here. Thank you. Now for a change of scenery, let's check out a property that I've never lived at. Designed by our sponsor in this week's video, the BESPOKE Group. This over-the-top, fully loaded luxury suite is decked out with 5-star hotel finishes and a lavish design. The office comes with sound-absorbing walls and a lock. No more embarrassing Zoom drop-ins. The kitchen is lit to be moody and dramatic, with the center of attention being its fully loaded bar. After enjoying a drink, chill out in the soaker tub. The guest bedroom has a grand wall-to-wall hand-painted mural by acclaimed artist Reiko Karen. Now the master suite has a giant king-size bed with tiny reading lamps. But who cares? No one's gonna be reading anyways. Okay, back to my houses. Not so fancy. This house meant a lot to me. It was kind of where I developed who I am. I learned to skateboard, I made so many friends, and I was really sad when my mom told us that we were leaving to move in with her new boyfriend. So this was the school I went to in grade 9. It's called R.H. King. It's here in Scarborough where I spent most of my life growing up. Next to the school there was bikes that were locked up there for like weeks. And my brother at the time was going to the school and he came up with an idea that we could steal these bikes. We got lock cutters from the garage here and went over there and stole the bikes. Stupidly enough, we did it right on camera. The bikes were locked up to that bench. I was on the table like this, dancing, while my brother was cutting the lock. And it was all on camera. So stupid. so much fun in this place. I know what you're thinking. Aaron, this house is massive. Well, truth be told, when my grandmother passed, my mother got a sizable inheritance just before we moved to this house. Unfortunately, it didn't last too long because she was advised to put it all into the stock market, and in 2010, well, let's just say we had to move out of there. During that time, I actually would run away from home a lot. I had run away, I don't know for how long, but I came back home after just being like my wit's end, and I came to the house back where I thought was home, and turns out my whole family moved, and I had no idea where they moved to. And this was the house, and they left my ass behind. I found them later, but that was where we were at. That I could potentially get like the backyard, maybe. Another L. Woo! So my mom ended up breaking up with her boyfriend at this place, and I went to high school, started mixing with the wrong crowd, sneaking out at night, getting in fights, and eventually getting expelled from school entirely. They have their TV on. I can literally see their TV, so I don't know who they're fooling not answering the door. If you could let me in just to see like the kitchen and like the living room. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. Finally, somebody let me inside. I was super stoked. This house meant a lot to me. It was very much a turning point where I wanted to reshape my life and kind of get my stuff together. I ended up going to a new school, making new friends, and I even got my first job at a grocery store. It's literally the exact same too. And I used to have, this was our dining room table. Very similar, my brother's room was down there. He used to, and the whole place would smell. So this is, you guys set it up better than I did, that's for sure. I used to throw the craziest house parties in here. I couldn't keep people to take their shoes off. So people would come inside, and in the winter's time, there was times where this hallway was literally slush. So like, I mean, this is your house. So I'm sure it's been cleaned a million times since then, but like, appreciate it. Thank you so much for letting me inside. You're a gem. Trip down memory lane. I enjoyed it. We got something. So this house here was the last house that I lived with my family at. I lived in the basement. I guess it was like an ideal place for like an early teenager to live in. However, I kind of took advantage of it, having people over too much, which ended up having me kicked out when I was 18. Me and the boys used to call this place the Witchwood Palace. I don't know why though, because I swear it's like a total dump. In this place, I was actually the victim of a really violent home invasion set up by someone that I used to know. I was tied up, beaten, robbed for everything I had. But that's a whole other potential video, long story. It's essentially why I left that place and moved on to the next one. At this point, I finally finished high school, which only took me 6 years, and I got accepted to college. Now this apartment was dope, but I wanted to move closer to my campus. Okay, so this is day 2. We had to take a break. I'm now with Ashley, my fiance. If you don't know who that is, this is my lovely fiance. 2 more apartments to visit before you finally get to see where I'm currently living. Make sure you get to stick around to the end because you may be blown away by this. Here we are. I lived in this house right here. I'm gonna go up and knock on the door. All right, we finally made it to the last apartment that I lived at in Toronto, previous to like just blowing up on social media. This place, I couldn't give up, so I actually gave it to my brother. Ashley, did you like this apartment?
Yeah, that's where we first started dating.
What up? Alright, come inside. You can see what a mess we made of the place.
So here's the ironic thing. We're finally here, and this map here, it has all the pins of all the places I've lived and all the schools I've gone to since I've lived in Toronto. We started over here. We did all of these. We did up here. And now we're here. So this is Toronto.
And I got
it's cool being back here, not gonna lie.
Oh, she's so cute.
This is where all the magic happened. I lived here longer than anywhere else in my entire life, believe it or not. So, this is what it is. Got to see it all. Here we are.
That's not bad. A little clip for it.
Yeah. I had a lot of ups and downs, and I moved around a lot. But I finally found my purpose, and I couldn't be happier. Nowadays, I live in Airbnbs like this one behind me here. Thanks for watching, please subscribe, and see you next week.